well, as always. Headed into our second padded practice today, and we've gotten a lot of great work in so far. A lot of things that we can improve on and constantly get better at every single day, and a lot of things that have gone really well. So we're in a great spot right now, and I'll open it up to any questions. What I learned from that is, in those situations, they're so impeccable to get early on, especially in this camp-like setting, because, it's there's no consequences to it. There's so much learning involved. And, with those, front seven guys and, that rush, it's, tremendous to feel that early on and be able to, make quicker decisions, get to my back, maybe find an escape lane here or there when they're playing man on the back end. But, yeah, it was just another great example for me to see and, experience. They look really good and they feel even better. Just like the rush and just being able to, not sit in the pocket and really hold the ball. Like, you got to make quick, decisive decisions and really have a plan and a process going up to each and every play. And, once that ball hits your fingertips, they're going to be firing off.
So, when it comes to having Jefferson out, how is that helping you to get some chemistry with other receivers and working so much?
We miss them big time, but, this game of football, a lot of things can happen, and you're not going to have every single guy for every single game. So it's a great little experiment for us to see who's going to step up and really, show themselves throughout this training camp. But, all the receivers have been doing a great job. A lot of the young guys rising to the occasion, and it's been a lot of fun to get those extra reps in with a lot of those guys.
What's your bar for success per day in training camp?
Honestly, constant improvement, learning every single day. And, when the periods don't go your way, you're always asking why. It's never a loss, and you're always learning from it, good or bad. But especially those, periods where they really get you, I feel like that's where we can learn the most about ourselves and our offense as an identity.
Along with lines the red zone yesterday, what was your take about how that went?
Missing by inches, and that's what happens when you're down in the red zone. You got to be detail oriented and really specific with where you're putting the ball. But there was a lot of good things on tape, and at the end of the day, those concepts are going to be crucial when we get down there, of just the rhythm and timing of everything. So just more great reps to put under my belt and the rest of the guys.
6 practices in, how would you sum up your progress so far?
I would sum it up to, just more and more comfortable in this system, just attacking the process of the pre-snap, the cadences, knowing where everyone's at. And, something I really wanted to work on was just those layered balls and being able to find my touch again. And I feel like I made some significant strides with that part of my game. And, at the end of the day, I feel like we're getting, 2% better every single day, and that's all that matters. I'm feeling really good. Yeah, it's considered the dog days of camp, but I feel like, the guys are fired up and amped up for today, and KO and the trainers, they take great care of us. The training staff, they do a great job of just making our bodies feel absolutely amazing going into each and every day, and I feel like we're on a great track.
With all the situational process, where's the best thing from that? And is it more work time sometimes than hold on in the NFL? Is that sticking with?
I would say it's what I expected because, the NFL, it's a tremendous league. There's going to be games going down to the wire almost every week, and that's where those wins and losses are going to be made, is in those situations. And, a great drill we had the other day, a 3-way drill of, just third, depending on where we're on the field, but third down, is it a go-forward situation? Is it a punt? Is it a field goal? And KO brought up in the team meeting room a lot of situations from last year that really made the difference in the outcomes of those games. So I feel like just being able to really take those situations extremely seriously and be uncomfortable in those situations, it's going to make us even more comfortable when they really come.
J.J., with Jefferson's injury, where do you feel like your chemistry was at with him before he went down, and how do you work on that?
I feel like we were in a really great spot. Spent a lot of time in the offseason just getting on the same page. He's a different receiver. He moves in different ways, and just being able to really get reps and reps and reps with him is huge. And unfortunately, he's down with a little bit of soreness, but at the end of the day, we're going to pick up right where we left off. We're still communicating off the field, and, he's still communicating with me on the field on how he would run certain routes and where the ball placement would be. So I think it's in a really good spot. I love it. He's one of the leaders on our team. Does a tremendous job of just always being interactive and in it. A lot of those guys, they could sometimes hide away in the training room and kind of do their own thing, but you really feel his presence out there, and just being able to, pick his brain next to him in the locker room and out on the field. It's really awesome.
Real-time coaching you're getting from KO out there. What are those moments like after a rep or bad, pull you off to the side, talk to you in real time?
It's amazing because it eliminates any gray area. I don't have any time to really think about and process, why the outcome went the way it did. But just being able to get that, like you said, live time feedback and being able to really, understand it. Okay, that's the why behind it. Then move on to the next play. It's extremely, extremely huge for sure.
J.J., can you talk a little bit about how much more you have to manage as a player from the
It's definitely a step up. We did a lot at Michigan with just, the play calls and being able to check things at the line. But this takes it to a whole nother level with KO's offense. And, he says the hardest part about playing the quarterback position in this offense is pre-snap. After post-snap, the rest takes care of itself. But just being able to identify coverage, remember the motions, make the protection calls, and, react once the ball hits your hands. He does a great job of just, talking through that process pre-snap and just going out there and making it as effortless as possible.
AJ, how do you go about that part of learning protections? Whether it's meeting with Brian Kelly, meeting with coach, what's your process? How does that protect?
We do a lot of meeting time. We go over it a lot in the quarterback room, and just always being vocal with Ryan Kelly and the rest of the guys, and just lunch period in the locker room, and we do a lot of protection walkthrough stuff, so they really make it super organic to really be on the same page.
Couple more from JJ.
What prompted you to make the player and was what prompted that?
I feel like just not having those reps last year, like on the scout team and just throwing, that's something that you miss out on. When you take a substantial amount of time off from throwing the football, you got to find that touch again. And, there was a lot of throws in OTAs where I feel like could have gone a lot better as an outcome if I had that touch. So just learning from, failures and trying to get better from that.
And speaking of that, it looks like as training and practices have gone on, that you are trying to make different throws. Like the first couple of days, there were times where you threw it hard and threw guys, and it didn't work. Are you just trying different things now too, that aren't necessarily applicable to games, to see if they will work?
Yes, there's a fine line between that, especially in this camp period where it's very competitive. But yeah, this is practice at the end of the day. We're always trying new things to, see how far we could expand, that repertoire of throws. But at the end of the day, it's about, getting the ball to my receivers and getting it over defenders, and definitely not through them. So, yeah.
What have you seen from Max Rosemary? Been able to connect with him some?
Yeah, Max is the man, just super detail-oriented, works his butt off. I can't say enough good things about that guy. He's just an awesome human being, and, he could sing pretty well, too. He's got a song out there, Old Jack Daniels. You can check it out. But, yeah, he's an awesome dude. Dwight McGlothern, also known as Nudie, he's one of my favorite guys on the team. Just somebody that's consistently vibrant, always connecting with every single player, every single coach, and he's one of a kind personality. And you see it on the field. He makes plays in unique ways, and it's really special to have him on our team. And I really appreciate him being in my class because we got a special bond that way too.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much.